Alright, good evening. I'm gonna go ahead and get another video out. I didn't do all of the things I needed to do in the last video, but remember, like, subscribe, and share. Help me so I can help you. Okay? I am the EJ Cousin online, the EJ Cousin online, the EJ Cousin online. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube. Remember, the EJ Cousin online, the EJ Cousin online. Now, what I want to talk about in the second video, and it's late on a Friday night. I did some light cleaning in my house and, had my other life that I work on during the day. And I'm still very much awake. I think I took a nap like at 4 o'clock today. So that's why I'm still awake. But I wanted to do a video on fiery darts and the removal of people from your life, right? Now, in the last video, I talked about how I had purchased this book a week ago, and this is not a new book. It's called From the Trash Man to the Cash Man, How Anyone Can Get Rich Starting from Anywhere. This book is by Myron Golden. Very wise man. He took the kingdom principles of wealth and put them into play. He experienced poverty. He did not want that in his adult life. And he went through a season of poverty in his adult life, and he decided that that wasn't the lifestyle for him and he wanted to change it. So with that being said, since I'm talking about poverty, you want to be cognizant of fiery darts and removal of people from your life. Okay? Now, I've been on the earth for a while, so I've had people come and go. And for a long time, because I went through some serious things in my 0 to 18 years, I struggled with letting people go. And I can't say that I am in the best place with that now, because even in 2025, I had a word from the Lord through prayer, because I'm big on prayer. I've talked about that in some of my other videos of you want to be big on prayer. I pray 2 to 6 hours a day, depending on the day, depending on what's going on, right? I usually pray with a prayer call from 6 to 7 in the morning, and then do another prayer call from 9 to 10 or 10 to 11, okay? And then, like I said, if I can do more prayer in the evenings or whatever, I do. But let's get back to the topic of this video. And like I said, I've been in this spot for a while. I'm a little uncomfy, but I'm going to knock this video out, right? Fiery darts and the removal of people from your life. So when I talk about from trash man to the cash man, fiery darts and removal of people from your life are important because people hanging out in your life that are not supposed to be there, this could be family, this could be friends, this could be work people, will keep you in cycles of poverty, right? It is important that no matter how traumatic your life has been, that when the Lord tells you to get somebody out of your life, that you let them go. Okay? If you don't, they will keep you in cycles of poverty. Okay? Like I said, it is May 2026. In September 2025, I went to a worship conference in Dallas, Texas. And now that we're in May 2026, I've been to 6 of those worship conferences. So this particular archetype of conference with this particular person, I started going to this archetype of conferences with this particular person in April 2023 before it blew up and it had mass exposure. It was still smaller at that time. But the Lord has used this worship conference mightily in my life to repent, and He's used it to shift me in different directions, right? So, September 2025, I go to this worship conference in Dallas. I had went to it for the first time in Minneapolis, Minnesota in April of 2023. So by the time I go to the one in Dallas, Texas in September 2025, I had been to Minneapolis for this conference, Atlanta, Orlando, and Dallas. So that was my 5th worship conference of that archetype. And then I went to the 6th one in January 2026 in Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay, so let me get back to the topic of the video. Remember, fiery darts and the removal of people from your life. In September 2025, the Lord spoke to me. He said, your season with a particular person in your life is over. This person, hadn't seen him in years, but I was talking to this person through the phone, talking to this person through apps, Instagram, blase. Love this person. Genuinely. Struggling to let this situation go. Still, in 2026, still struggling. Even though the Lord had told me this season is over, right? But that is a form of poverty. It's a form of poverty. Like, I need my Bible out too to be foot stomping on it. When the Lord tells you to let people go, you got to get them out of your life. Because I didn't get that out of my life, there's a certain deadline that passed by in 2025, and I missed the deadline, and now I'm restarting a project that I had previously worked on. I had worked on it in 2024, I had worked on it in 2025, and now here I am in 2026, I'm still working on this project that was supposed to have been done. That's a form of poverty, right? When you let people in your life who are not supposed to be there, and then when you let people stay in your life when the Lord has told you this season is over. And they come with fiery darts, because while they're there and they're not supposed to be there, they're going to make comments that damage your self-esteem, your self-worth, your perception of yourself. They're going to damage it. And that also causes poverty, and it delays you and your purpose, right? And so I'll say this, right? I moved to Texas in October 2023. And when I moved to Texas, I moved right into my house here. I had a house built in 2020 in South Carolina, closed on the house days before pandemic. And the Lord told me not to buy that house. He didn't say not to buy a house. He didn't want me to buy that house because of the location and the people that were going to be around me. But, of course, the Lord allowed me to go through the process. And that process served as a dry run for me, because fast forward to October 2021, and I had a paid move to another location. So I kept the house in South Carolina for a while after I left. But once I had left South Carolina, I knew in my knower that I didn't ever want to return to that state, because what was I going back there for? I didn't have any marriage while I was there for the 4 years. There was nothing that was concrete that had manifested. I had a job while I was there. But me and my son Christian we were in the wilderness. That was what God described that season as. It was the wilderness, right? So again, fiery darts and removal of people from one's life. So I went to Tennessee for 2 years. And the day that I got to Tennessee, the week I got to Tennessee, the month I got to Tennessee, the Lord gave me a word. He said, you may want to head to Texas. So October 2021 until October 2023, when I moved to Texas, I had a word from the Lord. The Lord said, you may want to head to Texas. I held on to that word. I prayed that word through. Okay. Now, like I said, in my journey in Tennessee, I got there October 2021. I believe or perceive I sold my house in South Carolina in 2022. And then I had been praying for a certain type of job for 4 years. I got that job, and I started my journey of building my house in Texas. And the day I got to Texas, I moved into the house. So what does that have to do with fiery darts and removal of people from your life? Before I moved to Texas, I had stopped by in Louisiana to family. And the Lord had told me, he said, your season with these folks is over. And the reason why is because every time I would stop by, they would always bring fiery darts to me. They would bring up old stuff. Like I said, I could have went out and bought the Empire State Building. Okay? And they would say, you did A, B, C, D, E, F, G in 1980 or the 90s. They're going to bring something negative. Or let's say I went and bought the Empire State Building. They're going to say, but you didn't buy Trump Tower too? Right? These people would bring some fiery dart about something, and God literally eliminated them from my life because they kept doing that. Right? So how do people keep you in cycles of poverty when you don't eliminate them? Like I said, fast forward, I moved to Texas. There were certain blessings that came to me, great. Other blessings that came to me, great, because I'm preparing myself because I've been in one season for 26 years in different facets of these seasons. But the Lord wants to really position me in the wealth realm. He took me out of poverty and put me in a very comfortable place after I went through hell to get here. But he wants me to be in the wealth realm because I knew from a child that if I lived long enough that I would be wealthy, right? But keeping the wrong people in your life with their fiery darts delays you, right? So the Lord told me this person's season in your life, September 2025, the season is over. And because I love this person, I was like, I love them. And that is an agent of poverty operating in my life. And so I want to make this video to you is if you notice fiery darts, you notice you kept somebody in your life, you've been abstinent for the last 6 years, and the first thing they say to you is, You know what? I think that if you and I were together, you would cheat on me. And you're thinking, I've been abstinent for the last 6 years. When I did talk to you, I still didn't. I wasn't cheating on you. I wasn't with anybody else. And that's what you had to say. But please go find you somebody else because I'm not for you. That's bananas. That what that person was doing was projecting their poverty concepts and their poverty behavior on me, talking about, I think that you would be unfaithful. How'd you come to that conclusion? Because I've been abstinent for the last 6 years, and when I did talk to you, I wasn't with anybody else, right? That's what happens with fiery darts and when you don't remove people from your life when the Lord tells you. Because that person was trying to project on me that I was a person who would be unfaithful when that's not even the lifestyle that I live at all. I've been abstinent for 6 years. I've been faithful to myself and covered by God for the last 6 years with abstinence. Abstinence doesn't mean I was perfect. It means that I was covered by God. The Lord gave me the strength to be abstinent. The Lord gave me the strength to pay all my bills by myself, to make it by myself, to survive by myself. He gave me the strength and grace to do it. And so for somebody to come play in my face and say, I think that you would be unfaithful, please move along, because that's a fiery dart and you're an agent of poverty, right? So when you keep people in your life longer than the season that they're supposed to be there, they literally become agents of poverty. Literally. I'll say this. I went to a conference in Lafayette, Louisiana during April 2026. Okay, this was a prophetic conference. And so I drove, I'm in driving distance. I didn't need to fly or anything like that. I drove on over there. And sometimes I do a lot of traveling. I usually travel once a month, and I tend to get homesick. So if I can, I will come home and go back and forth. And for some reason, I had a wild hair in me. I was like, okay, I'm going to Lafayette, and I can get a hotel in Lafayette and just stay. But I went to Lafayette for the conference, attended the conference day 1. After it was done, drove back home. And then for day 2, I drove back to Lafayette and came back home. Wild hair, whatever. But when I was at this conference for day 2, a person came up to me. I don't know this person's name. Didn't know him before the conference. We'll never be able to find them again because I don't know this person's name. But she kneeled at my feet. She said, you look tired. She didn't know I was driving back and forth to Lafayette. Had a wild hair, right? Lafayette, Louisiana. To, driving back to Texas where I was. And she said, you look tired. And you need to let something go. And I showed her what the matter was. I showed her a picture of it. And she said, this person has done something that they haven't repented for. And you got to let it go, right? But I was still struggling, bro. I was so deep in my feelings over this. Because sometimes you genuinely love people and you don't want to let them go. But guess what? After the April conference that I went to in Lafayette, Louisiana, it was 2 days. I drove day 1, drove back to Texas, drove day 2, drove back to Texas. Then I had another conference at the end of April in Miami. And this was my millionaire conference, okay? And mind you, I've been going to conferences for years. The Lord has been working with me for years about being a millionaire, for years. And when I went to this conference in April in Miami, it was confirming things that the Lord had told me for years through different people, right? And based upon our learning style, some repetition builds mastery. For me, I needed that level of repetition to build the mastery because I had been in Egypt for so long that to take my mind fully out of Egypt, get these Pharaoh thoughts, I was so conditioned in being an employee or being a manager in the Egyptian system that I needed that much repetition to get the millionaire, got to pull out who I really am, right? But me delaying removing people from my life had impacted me. And they're fiery darts. Fiery darts are their words, what they're saying to you, what they're trying to project on you. So when the Lord tells you to get somebody out of your life, you got to get them out of your life. Their words are fiery darts. That can be fiery darts projecting poverty at you, trying to remind you of who you used to be, when the Lord has spent years cleaning you up, sanctifying you, changing your mind, all of this. And they want to bring back this foolery. Okay? And I noticed that too from somebody who was there when I received Christ. The Lord told me in 2023, do not deal with these people anymore. And it's not negative. It's not a negative thing. It means that their season is over. And sure enough, I talked to the people recently, and they tried to bring me into the fold of something that I know God is not wanting for my life. And another person from the same group of people had tried to do that to me back in 2020. And I told that person no at that time. I didn't want to do that. So 2020, 2021, and 2026, somebody's still trying to bring me into the same stuff where I had told them I don't want to do that. That's not my line of business. That's not what the Lord is calling me to do. And when I told them that, and I said, and I also don't want you group of people in my life anymore. And they said, don't despise small beginnings. This is not about small beginnings. I don't despise you. Okay? You don't know the vision. You haven't even asked what God is trying to do in my life, and you're trying to project what you're doing on me. Fiery darts. Fiery darts, y'all. Trying to keep me in a realm where they are. God's bringing me to the wealth realm, and you're over here. And I'm not saying that these people aren't prosperous, but I've been called to a wealth realm, right? Be careful about keeping people in your life longer than their season. If they got to go, they got to go. And you want to look at people and treat your life as a business, because for me, like I said, I've been single for a long time. Even though I was married twice in my early season, where I married at 18 and then I married again when I was 25, 26, and all of that stuff was over by the time I was 31 years old. I looked at myself as I've been single my whole life because I've been paying my own bills, right? And so you have to look at your life as a business. If people are not bringing money to the table, then they're taking it away from you, because you can't get back time. You can get back money, because let's say you fumbled $500,000, but you make $1 million in a day. Well, you made that money back, right? But you can't get back time. And a lot of these people that you let remain in your life, they don't have any vision. They love poverty. They're going to keep having children that they can't afford. They're going to keep posting these images of these relationships when they're not married to these people. This is all out of order. This is generational curses, all of this stuff. I'm telling you. Be careful of people's fiery darts. Be careful of what they say to you, and be cognizant to remove them. As soon as somebody says something that bothers you, you need to reevaluate the relationship. You need to reevaluate the relationship. You need to restructure the relationship. Sometimes it's as radical as they are eliminated from your life, right? Sometimes they are eliminated, sometimes they're blocked, and then sometimes they're minimized. I know for the walk that I have with the Lord, it's real radical. So the Lord will be snatching wigs out of my life. He'll snatch me out of somebody's life or snatch them out of my life. And if you got to beg somebody to contact you, definitely get that out your life. Get that out your life. Get it out your life. Get it out your life. Because at the end of the day, if you want to be in the wealth realm, you want to live comfortably, even let's say you don't want to be in the wealth realm, but you don't want to be in the poverty realm, you still got to be very cognizant of who you have in your life. Drop the mic. This ain't going to be a long video. Anyway, because I even hear my dogs crying in the background. They're ready to go outside, even though it's almost midnight, but they can hear me talking, so they want to go outside. And it's been a rainy day, so they spend a lot of time indoors today. But remember, be careful of people's fiery darts, and be cognizant to remove people from your life. If you need to block them on social media, block them. If you need to block them on your phone, block them. But don't let people speak negativity over you. You've been abstinent. Don't let them try to paint you as, oh, you don't cheat on me if we were in a relationship. No, boo, that's you. That's who you are. You was like that when I met you, and 10 years later, dang, you still doing that same behavior. Issue. That doesn't mean I'm perfect. It doesn't mean that I didn't go through a season of that. But I made a decision that I don't want that. That behavior doesn't bring any prosperity, so no thank you to that, right? Do not let people take you to where they are, to these negative spaces that are filled with poverty and are not prosperous. Whether they be friends, family, or previous relationships, don't let them people take you there. Don't let them people keep you there. Okay? Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. So, let me review. I'm going to close out. We're at the 18-minute mark, so I'm going to close out by 20 minutes. Fiery darts. Go get your Bible. I don't have my Bible in front of me. Let me not leave you hungry or starving, because I can't leave you with crumbs, right? I can't leave you with crumbs. It's Friday night. I ain't leaving you with crumbs. Fiery darts or flaming arrows, missiles, refers to biblical metaphor in Ephesians 6:16. For spiritual attacks representing sudden temptations, doubt, fear, and evil thoughts designed to cause harm to a believer's minds, emotions, and faith. People speak these things to you. Fiery darts. Oh, your mom. Oh, your dad. Okay. But let's say for me, I'm separated from both of my parents. So why are you talking to me about that? I'm over here in Texas. One of them is in Louisiana. One is in Virginia. Why you centering a fiery dart to me about some folks who don't even live near me? Fiery dart, right? Oh, I think you'd be unfaithful to me in a relationship. Why? Because you are? Because that's who you are and what you've always done? Fiery dart, back up off me, go find somebody else's life to destroy. Right? Okay? Friends bring gossip and slander. Why are you bringing that to me? This doesn't make any money. What are you doing? Okay? Gossiping and slander can get you in the lake of fire. Get me in the lake of fire. No, get that out of here. If we're not talking how to make money, then what are we even talking about? What are we even doing? Right? So, eliminate people from your life immediately or restructure the relationship quickly. Quickly. As I started this video, I told y'all, because I had gone through so much stuff from year 0 to 18, I still to this day tend to love people. Like, I can really, if I decide to love somebody, I genuinely love them. And there's certain people in my life, even though there's distance between me and them, like, I love them. You live in another state, but I've made the decision to love you. I've made the decision to walk with you, even from afar, out of a genuine place of love, hoping that you'll get your salvation, hoping that you'll make it to heaven, whether that be family, right? But there comes a point for some folks when it's just done. Like I said, me and my dad's relationship, that thing was so toxic and it was abusive in nature, where there had to be a line drawn in the sand. This is done. It's over. You go your way, I'm going my way. Right? So if it comes to a relationship, a previous spouse, friend, whatever, do not be afraid to restructure the relationship or shut it down altogether, because at the end of the day, pay attention to fiery darts, which are people's words, and pay attention to the removal of people from one's life. Guard your heart, guard your life. Okay? Focus on prosperity. Focus on, if you're in poverty, getting out of poverty. If you live paycheck to paycheck, you live in a place that you rent, and you already have children, why are you having more children? Restructure the relationships in your life. Get a vasectomy. Get your tubes tied. What are you even doing? If you're in fornication, get out of it. If you're in adultery, get out of it. If you want to be married, start vetting people so you can get your ordained marriage. But these fiery darts, pay attention to them and remove people from your life accordingly. I can say this, and like I said, we're already at 22 minutes. I said I was going to stop at 20. In 2026, in the friendship realm, I don't have any friends. The Lord has removed all of that from my life. I went through the threshing floor starting back in 2022, and the Lord has removed people from my life. And now if I try to talk to them, when I tell you that stuff does not work. It don't work. People who were in my life prior to 2023, none of that stuff works. If I try to have conversations with these people, I just want to bang my head. None of that stuff. I went through the threshing floor. These people have been removed. Them and their fiery darts. And like I said, now that I've arrived in 2026, like, it's no looking back. Everything has to be new, moving ahead. And even the Lord told me in 2026, when I came back from 3 trips to the East Coast, I drove to Raleigh, North Carolina in January. I flew out there, I think in February, flew back home. And then I flew out there and ended up driving home in March, April. When I got back from that last trip, the Lord told me to start over. Meaning everything from the past, that's done. Whether it be family, friends, previous relationship, done. Just start over. And so God himself was like, all them fiery darts, those people are Sodom, Gomorrah candidates in your life. That stuff is about to be burned out of your life. It's done. Then people are removed. They done. They still in the same stuff that they was in when you left them behind. It's done. So I'm wrapping up this video. It's almost midnight. Like I said, my dogs have been crying. They cried. They stopped crying. They was like, she's still talking. So I'm going to upload this video. Y'all have a good Friday night. I know if you're on the East Coast, it's Saturday morning for you. Like I said, it's 11:44 out here north of Houston, Texas. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored. I'm about to release my book, so y'all can get this book. I'm about to start doing some classes, so y'all can go ahead and cop that. You know, use your Afterpay, your Affirm, your Klarna. I got all this knowledge. The Lord told me to be doing e-ministry, and it took me a long time to get here. If you look on my channel, you can see some of my old videos from when I was in South Carolina. I didn't really post when I was in Tennessee because I didn't want to go through Tennessee, but I had to go through there to get to Texas, right? I understand why the Lord did it. I didn't love it. I told the Lord I would do it for 2 years. He honored that. I was only out there for 2 years, straight up. Been in Texas ever since. So, all right. Good night from north of Houston, Texas. I am the EJ Cousin .online. The EJ Cousin .online. The EJ Cousin .online. Like my Instagram. Like, subscribe, and share this video. Okay. Pay attention to the fiery darts. Restructure, remove people from your life. Restructure relationships, remove people from your life. Be blessed. Have a good night. Love y'all. Love you. Love you. Love you. Love you.